Hello and welcome to a Blobbert Unscripted. It's been a while since I've done one of these sorts of videos. These are, I wouldn't say completely unscripted, but I have dot points. I put these ones out every now and again just because they're easier to make and it gives me more time to work on more creatively intensive videos, like the one I've got coming in a couple of weeks' time for Valentine's Day, where I'll be going through the entire wedding day. So a lot of things that I need to draw and yeah, it's going to be a lot of time, so I thought I'd throw this one together. So this video, we're going to be talking about intro animation progress and new One Piece opening, which I'm a big fan of, and a future One Piece video, or videos. So let's get into it. Yes, that is the new intro video. Still a work in progress, but I've added some color, I've added a tiny bit of shading, and I've, added some smear frames, better than the outline that I was running with for a while. My problem is with shading. So I really like this watercolor brush on Critter. No, it's Critter, it's just Critter. I keep calling it Critter. But yeah, there's this watercolor brush that I really love to use for shading, but the problem is I like it too much, and it's terrible for consistency if I actually want to properly animate. So, if you look at things and how things are animated, and they've got like the solid line shadow, normally like under the chin or under the hairline, stuff like that, and that's functional and simple, but trying to do the watercolor brush for shadows in an animation means it's not consistent at all, and everything sort of shifts and moves around, which is a cool effect. But it also takes so much time, like doing each of the light sort of shadows as that drop of light goes into the blob in that intro animation. It's like each of those took way too long as opposed to like just shrinking and growing a solid line. So it's terrible for consistency, and I probably should learn how to do shadows properly. I'm also animating that intro on 2s just because it's frankly less effort. And less work having to do. So a 2s is 1 frame every 2 seconds versus 1 frame every not 1 frame every 2 seconds. What am I saying? So animation can be in 24 frames per second. I mean, it could theoretically be more, but traditionally it's been 24 frames per second. Same with films. 12 frames a second is animating on 2s, and 1s is 24 frames per second. So obviously, doubling the amount of drawings for an animation doubles the amount of work. I think that mostly stuff works on 2s, but there has been a few things where I've noticed that 1s does seem to be better depending on motion. And the next step for that opening intro is doing a background, and I'm really struggling with thinking about what I'm going to do when I rotate that background, because I can't draw backgrounds statically. Like, look at it. I threw this campfire and stars thing together in like an hour and a bit and animated the fire, but this isn't a great background, and I don't know how I'm going to do a good background that rotates as well. So yeah, that's going to be a struggle. And that's all for the intro animation. Moving on to the new One Piece anime opening. Oh, it's so good. I thought it was called All of Us, but I think when I looked it up later, it's just called like Us, like UUUSSSS exclamation mark. I love this new anime opening, this new One Piece anime opening. I think it's maybe not the best song, though I do love the song, but I would say it's the best animation of a One Piece opening. Like, I am hard pressed to think of an anime opening for One Piece that is as good as this one. Like, there are iconic ones. Like, let's get things straight. We Are is iconic, and like, I have a fondness for Crazy Rainbow Star, but I think just this one, the animation is just so good. Like, all the other ones, they fall into a historical legacy of shonen anime, which is a montage of cool moments and of characters, and that's fine. But this is just so good of showing a story. This is like JoJo opening tier, where it's like all these hints and like little details all stuffed into it. And more so with this one, it's just a masterclass of transitioning between cuts. Like where your eye is and making sure that when it transitions, where your eye is at the end of one scene is where it should be at the start of the next scene. And it's just, it's a thing of beauty. I haven't skipped it yet, watching the anime every week, and it's just so good. And some of my favorite transitions, I love the one of Kizaru showing the young Sentomaru, like his light beam, and then that transitions seamlessly into him attacking the Frontier Dome. I love like the two main ones, which are the different clashes between all the different characters, and that's so like, so tight on the music timing as well, and then like the Hucky fists punching together, that's so good. And the classic, I get knocked down, but I get up again. The sequence with like Law and Kid and Kobe transitioning into Vivi and then into Bonnie, and it's like, everything about those two sequences are just on point, perfect. So yeah, I just wanted to gush about that opening. I've learnt how to play it on the keyboard. I think I'll I'll record it and throw it into the background here to be the song for this section, because the chords are actually pretty easy, and there's some nice key changes, and I thought it was going to be more complicated than it actually was, but still, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, topic 3. This is the big one for this video. So, future One Piece videos. I have really been thankful and humbled by the feedback and the comments and just the support I've received in the problems with the live action One Piece video. It's really been lovely. All the support, people saying like, finally, someone's talking about this, and someone said recently, this video will age like a fine wine, and there have been other really supportive comments. And then there have been the people saying, I thought your name is We Attempt New Things. Kind of ironic that you don't like it when they've attempted new things. That's a whole other conversation. And I get it. Haha, very funny. We Attempt New Things is, pointing out the flaws in something that has tried something new. I don't think those two are mutually exclusive. Like, when I try to animate, when I try to draw, when I try to do this, that, and the other, just because I've tried something new doesn't mean it's exempt from feedback and from commentary. Otherwise, how am I going to improve? That's the whole point. Like, people misunderstood that video. I don't hate the live action. I kind of like it. I've said that multiple times. I enjoyed it. I'm happy it exists. But I want it to be even better. Like, if they break it apart, if they're just these tiny bits, part by part, it gets like, there's these little cracks that form and they get worse and worse, then it's not going to survive. It's going to eventually get cancelled because it's going to change too much. It's going to lose original fans. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll prove me wrong. But I want it to succeed. And the reason One Piece succeeds is because of the characters. And if you mess with the characters, you're gonna run into some issues. But yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. Back to the comments. Loving the comments. And I'm also loving like the discussion about certain things. Like, an interesting question is, Nami stealing from Kaya during the Syrup Village arc, which I completely skipped over. Somebody said they just want to hear my thoughts on Syrup Village, and I thought, well, they asked so nicely, I'm definitely going to make that video now. And then just other character inconsistencies, like I didn't explicitly point out, and that other people, they felt like, this is what I didn't like about it. This is what I noticed. This is what bugs me as a long-time reader or watcher of the anime. And yeah, the video was so fun to make, and I think, making a second video that really incorporates everyone's feedback, I think that would be cool. It'd be like a culmination of We Attempt New Things, because it is now not just my opinions, but all these ones that people have brought up in the comments, and of course I'll give them credits like, hey, these people brought up this person brought up this, and really diving deep into it. That being said, that video did more than double my subscribers, which, look, I'm thankful. But now there's a bit of pressure, because that, like I said, very different video from what I usually make. And because it got me so many new subscribers, there's a bit of pressure now to deliver some content that they subscribe for, at least every now and again. So it's an interesting thought. Like, thankfully, I have a job, I have a wife, I have all this other stuff. And this is definitely just a hobby, but, you know, I don't want to let people down if people are subscribed, like, oh, this guy does One Piece content, or media analysis content. And then suddenly they get hit with like, man, it's been 10 vlog videos about learning Chinese, learning to animate, this, that, and the other. Why did I subscribe to this guy again? Yeah, it's just a part of me which feels a little bit of pressure to, you know, make some more similar videos in the future. But at least for the time being, I have got 2 One Piece videos in the works. Or at least when I say in the works, I'm thinking about them, thinking about what they'll be about. So the first one I want to release is not the part 2 of the issues of the live action. It's actually going to be something I'm thinking of titling something like The Point of East Blue. So it's going to specifically outline what is the purpose of each arc in East Blue. Like, what does this arc achieve? Why did Oda write it in this order? And I think that's important because when people call an arc better or worse, or filler or not filler, I think that comes down to what does the arc achieve during its point. Like, obviously, Alvida, the first arc, well, actually, technically, the first arc in the manga is the Shanks meeting Luffy, meeting the Devil Fruit. And that one is pure intro. But, like, Alvida is to show how Luffy inspires others. Number 2 is meeting Zoro and showing his character and also Luffy's recruitment process, essentially. And it also, more importantly, teaches you about how there are good Marines and there are bad Marines. Similarly, how there are nicer pirates like Luffy and then pirates like Alvida. So it's to show a dichotomy and so on and so forth. Each arc, especially in East Blue, introduces something new. And that's why I think I see that video as one that needs to be made before the part 2 with the more issues with One Piece live action. It's because it gives more of a background, and that way you can judge it against when the live action covered this arc. Did it achieve the goals that Oda had when creating each arc in the manga? So I think, yeah, I see it as a companion piece, sort of. And then, yes, later on will be the more issues with One Piece live action, framing it around all the comments I've received and giving credit to people. Definitely going to cover the Syrup Village arc in more depth and looking potentially into some accusations that might not necessarily be true. One that was very interesting in the discussion was, does Nami steal only from pirates? Now, like, in East Blue for sure, she doesn't steal against civilians, but does she steal from Marines? Would she have stolen from Kaya because she's rich? Does Nami change after or before Arlong Park? Like, does she actually become more of a thief after Arlong Park because she's been freed of her burden? So actually, I don't actually have an answer. My mind tells me she's a miser. Like, she's very, like, money-grubbing, tries to get the best deal. And some people say she stole from the Shandorians, but it's like, did she steal from them, or did they just not see the value in the gold, and she was more than happy to take advantage of that? Or would you actually count that as stealing? So it's an interesting discussion, and there are other things like that question, which is like, let's look into this. Let's solve this mystery. And but whether I'm going to cover that in the second video, or maybe I put that into a different video altogether, that's a good question. But yeah, so those 2, potentially even 3 One Piece videos. And like I mentioned in my last video, I'm so keen to do a Legend of the Galactic Heroes one, but that's going to be like a 8-part series. Actually, how many books are there? I think there's 10 volumes of the novels. So maybe a 10-part series going through it in like just such detail, because I love that series so much and I'm so keen to rewatch it. But that's going to take so much time. Like, oh my goodness, it's going to take so much time. And all right, that's it from me. This went on a little bit longer than expected, but yeah, that's kind of what Blobbert Unscripted is. I have my dot points, I ramble on, and then maybe I'll do a little bit of editing, but I record this with Streamlabs while I'm also recording the audio separately on Audacity, so that way the audio is a bit clearer, because I've got my nice filter on the microphone. And yeah, okay, not next week, but let me literally open up the calendar as I'm recording here. It'll be the 11th. The 11th will be a Valentine's Day video going through the wedding. I've started drawing things for that, and it's gonna be a big one, a very important one too. So hopefully I'll see you then. Hopefully you like this change of pace, me just rambling on about stuff. I think this is the first time the VTuber model has shown up in a while. I'm thinking about remaking this too. That's for a different topic. Enough rambling. Hope you enjoy yourself. Remember, it's not I attempt new things, it's we attempt new things. And I hope you have a fruitful day. Can't forget the catchphrase. See ya.